Greetings, fellow Saints fans, and welcome back to New Orleans Saints Offensive Breakdown with me, Frank Martin. This time, we're not going to break down a play or anything on offense. What we're doing today is trying to be topical. Today was the release of the NFL schedule for 2013, so we're going to break down the schedule. Yes, I know it's only April, but like I said, we're trying to be topical. So here we go, a breakdown of your 2013 New Orleans Saints schedule. I know you've heard it like I've heard it. Teams basically break up the NFL season into 4 quarters, they call it. The first 4 games, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, and 13 through 16. I mean, you get the picture. You know what I'm talking about. 4 quarters. They try to win 3 of the 4 quarters, and theoretically, you're in the playoffs. 3 games in each quarter times 4 is 12. This is not a math lesson. I think you know where I'm going with this. So we're going to start off with quarter number 1. As we unveil the schedule, I'll try to throw a little graphic up here for you, and I'm going to kind of read off the games and kind of give you my thoughts on that. Week 1, this is it, baby. I love the fact that the Saints got this game right off the bat. They host the Atlanta Falcons in the Superdome. This is going to tell us a lot about our team. The Saints, the Falcons, the 2 best teams in the NFC South the last few years, and they're going to tangle in Week 1. Another great thing about it is you should theoretically have both squads at full health. In Week 1 of the season, pretty much everyone is healthy, so we're going to get the best from each of these 2 teams. My only gripe is that this is in Week 1, and the Falcons were pretty good last year. The number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. The Saints didn't make the playoffs. I know it's a brand new season, but I would have liked to have seen our team maybe get a couple of games under their belt with head coach Sean Payton back. But we've got to play them sometime, and I think if we're going to be a factor come postseason, we've got to beat them twice. So might as well get the first one in Week 1. The rest of the first quarter kind of looks like this. Buccaneers and Cardinals and Dolphins. The Dolphins being a Monday Night Football game. That should be a special game as the Saints try to establish themselves in front of the nation. Hopefully by that time, our team is at least 3-1. I think they could be 4-0 with a win over the Falcons, but we'll get to kind of an overall record thing later. As we move into quarter number 2 of our NFL 2013 schedule, the Saints must travel to Chicago and then off to Foxborough. They follow that up with a bye. And then quarter number 2 officially is 5 weeks because the Saints will host the Buffalo Bills and then travel to the New York Jets. I also want to point out, if you kind of couple this with the first quarter schedule, look at that. October 6th on the road, October 13th on the road, then the bye week, and finally back at home on October 27th. I mean, the last time the Saints will be in the Dome is September 30th, and I don't want to do math on the fly here, but that's almost a month on the road. That's tough on the team. Now, on paper, you're thinking this is probably the toughest part of the schedule. I mean, look at the teams. You got the Bears, the Patriots, the Bills can score the football. The Jets are always tough. It's not the toughest part of the schedule. Winning in Chicago will be hard. Beating the Patriots, of course, is always hard. But look what the Saints have to deal with come quarter number 3 of the 2013 schedule. Wow, God, that looks like Murderer's Row right there. The Cowboys, the Niners, the Falcons, the Seahawks. Wow, that's brutal. I mean, at least the Cowboys game and the Niners game is going to be at home. The Saints are going to be lucky to get 3 wins out of these 4 games. I'm not going to lie to you. And this is not only the toughest part of their schedule in 2013, it is the most critical part of their schedule. Why? Well, when you look at that, 4 teams from the NFC, 4 teams that on paper and what we all think should be, they should be in the upper echelon of the NFC. So the Saints are going to have to beat these teams out for a playoff berth. And if they want to host a game in the Superdome and not go on the road where the franchise has never won a playoff game, well, then they're going to have to win 3 out of these 4 games. Now, of course, the Cowboys game and the Niners game are in the Superdome, so those are critical. Those are must wins. They've got to defend home field. Now, they also got to steal one on the road, and it's not going to be easy. 4 days after they face the Niners, a bruising team, they have to go to their division rival, the Atlanta Falcons. We always know how tough those games are with the Falcons. And then right after that, they got to travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Not going to make any predictions, but I'm hoping they can get one of those road games. Like I said, a very critical stretch for the Saints. But the end of the schedule, not easy as well. As we look at quarter number 4, check that out. I mean, this is where the rubber meets the road, as they say. December 8th, you host the Carolina Panthers. Then you got the Rams and Panthers on the road. And then Tampa Bay to close out the season. Real quick, though, look at those Panthers games. So close together. Week 14, Week 16. My prediction, my thoughts on that is those 2 games at the end of the year pretty much will decide if the Saints make the playoffs. Why? Well, I think if the Saints sweep their games with Carolina, they will definitely win the NFC South. Making that bold prediction right now. Those games between the Saints and the Panthers at the end of the year are going to decide the second playoff team in the NFC South. I think the South gets 2 teams in the playoffs this year. I'm hoping the Saints are one of them, but they got to take care of business the final quarter of the season. So there it is. That's your 2013 Saints schedule. It's brutal. Don't let anyone tell you it's not. They have a lot of playoff caliber teams on here and tough games on the road. Tough schedule matchups, a long stay on the road, away from the Superdome. That short turnaround against the Atlanta Falcons, facing the Niners is always tough. Tom Brady going for Drew Brees' consecutive touchdown pass record in week, I believe it's 6. That's going to be a hard game, very emotional. It's going to be a stretch. It's going to be a tough stretch for the Saints in 2013. Hopefully, though, with Sean Payton back at the helm, the boys will get it done. Mentioned earlier I might give a prediction on a record. I hate doing that. I hate being that guy. But this is what everybody wants to see. You got to make a prediction. You got to be bold here. I really, truly believe in my heart this team can go 12-4 this season. They're loaded on offense, and they're capable on defense. What 4 games are they going to lose? I don't know. I think they lose 1 in the first 4. Hopefully it's not the Atlanta Falcon game. I think they lose once again in the third quarter of the season. They might lose another game. Hopefully it's not the Atlanta Falcon game. And I also think they might drop 1 or 2 at the end of the year. Things get tough in the NFC South at the end of the year, and their schedule for the Saints is not very easy. So I'm going out on a limb, 12-4. I hope they get there. I'd be happy with 11-5 if that means they're playing a playoff game in the Superdome that week, the first week of January. Or second week, I guess, is what I want, right? I want to buy. I'm not crazy, am I? Well, yeah, I am, but anyways. All right, this has been a New Orleans Saints offensive breakdown where we broke down the schedule. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.